Older people often ask, why don't kids go outside anymore? It's because of those electronics. I think the real answer is that this is what the outside looks like. In the US, if you don't have a driver's license, you're basically on house arrest. The problem is that, in America, cities are made for cars, not people. That's because most American cities were built after the introduction of the automobile. The auto and gas industry, using their enormous sums of wealth, created laws that effectively required Americans to buy cars and gas. For example, our zoning laws in the US separate housing and amenities into two different parts of the neighborhood. And we lack walking infrastructure, biking infrastructure, and public transportation. Car companies and gas companies have even been caught buying up cities' public transit systems and ripping them up. That's why it's so hard for you to get anywhere without a car. Walking in the US feels like you're an escaped zoo animal. It just feels like you shouldn't be there because everything is so big and made for cars. It feels like you got shot with a shrink ray because of how big and car-sized everything is. As you can imagine, this is very dangerous for walking. When my mom first moved to the US from the Philippines, she said she didn't like it because of how quiet and isolated it was. She says that in the Philippines, everyone is outside on the street, singing karaoke, buying things, talking to each other. There's always something to do, and everyone in the community knows each other. As opposed to in the US, we're all isolated in houses. And we don't even see each other when we leave our houses because when we're not in our houses, we're in our cars. And I think this is why a lot of people say university was the best time of their life. Because it's the one chance most Americans have to live in a walkable community. You don't have the stress of paying for and owning a car. You live down the hall from your friends. If not, you live within walking distance of them. You live walking distance from the dining halls, from the grocery stores, from the stores. You live near your school, so you don't have to sit in your car to commute. You can walk to your school. You can get exercise every day and say hi to people on your way to class. You live in a place where there's always something happening. There's always adventures to go on. There's always people to meet. You live in a community. And I think that our car-centric communities are the main reason why the US lacks community. More benefits to walkable cities include the environmental benefits, the health benefits, the social benefits, the financial benefits. Each of us would be saving $9,000 a year if we didn't have to own a car. And the roads would be a lot safer if there were less cars on it. The Netherlands is bike-friendly and walk-friendly, and it was named the best place in the world to be a driver. That's because when the people who don't want to drive or don't like to drive don't have to drive, there are less cars on the road and there's less wear and tear on the roads, which makes it safer overall. So if you're a car enthusiast, walkability benefits you. And a lot of people say this younger generation is too stuck on electronics and they don't have social skills, and that's why they don't go outside. But they're only turning to these things because their neighborhoods aren't built to enable social interaction. When you can't get social interaction outside, you're going to turn to social media and video games. So in conclusion, our neighborhoods need more walkability, bikeability, and public transportation. We need these things so we as Americans can have more lively communities and so we can maximize our personal freedom.